Today, let's talk about the series Spartacus, which is set in the era of slavery. It depicts a time when a slave would do anything his master could imagine. But among these slaves, one slave seeks vengeance for his life's most valued possession, his freedom and story. The summary presents key insights. But before we begin, subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can receive our videos firsthand. We start the series with the Roman leader. The Thracian people are approached for assistance. Everyone stands against the flood. One Thracian stands up at that moment. He tells them that they must have a common interest. This interest is to eliminate their common enemy. Then he returns to his wife. When she learns that he will go to war, she becomes very upset. But he tells her that this is it. Final war he'll fight in. She agrees and begins to say goodbye before his departure for war. He says goodbye and gives her a keepsake to remember him. Then he travels with his entire army. They follow the war with the Romans. They unleash a relentless and strange force. But they notice that the Romans arrive at the end of the battle. They are the ones who claim all the war spoils. Of course, this was not a surprise for the Turks. They continue to conflict and train each other. Clyber, the Roman leader, arrives to stop them. He informs them that he urgently needs a reconnaissance team. He will deny them their share. At that particular moment, they had no choice but to listen to him. They then discover that the formidable enemy they fought is returning again to attack the villages. When they finally return to the camp to respond to their leader, Clyber, they adamantly refuse to return to the village ever again. And they want to move with the mountain army. At that time, the Thracians reject his decision. And not only that, they also launch an attack on the Roman leader, Clyber. But they decide to just beat him and not kill him. Unfortunately, on the same day, they are surprised by the Greeks attacking from everywhere. And she tries with all her strength to defend herself. But at the last moment, her lover comes and saves her from them. With his known strength, he and his team rescue her and kill them. He fails to reach the village, unfortunately. He decides to take her away and show her the picture. They recognize the problem she was facing simultaneously, and that the Romans would try to find them by any means. The next day, they are surprised to find Clyber in front of them. He decides to take his wife from him. Clyber decides to take him to Abdalia. He is surprised to find him among the soldiers with him. They were tied up and being taken to the city of Capua. Clyber returns to prepare the celebration his father and wife had. It was a series of battles in which the strongest would win. He will team up with Batiatus and the skilled gladiators. And they all stand against the gladiators, Marcus. And the surprise is that Clyber enters with the troops of the Thracians, who will be executed in the arena. At that time, Spartacus was looking for his wife. And that was truly all that mattered to him in life. On the last day, he goes and finds a sword in his hand. And he sees one of his comrades dying in front of him. And then it is finally his turn to step out into the arena. He is shocked to find himself standing in front of 4 gladiators. When the match starts, they all begin to attack him. But at that moment, he thinks of his wife and that he must live to find her. His strength returns and he begins attacking those around him. With just his trusty sword, he skillfully takes them all down. This was something that neither Clyber nor anyone around him expected. And at that moment, the crowd cheers that he must live. Due to what happened, Batiatus decides to buy him. And he's the one who names him Spartacus. At that moment, the entire crowd starts chanting his name. When he walks in, he is surprised to find himself in Batiatus' school, because he was bought and ordered to have his hair shaved. He also decides to beat him in the middle of the gladiator school. The people were enduring hardships due to drought. It had been a long time. At that time, Batiatus had lost a lot of money recently, because he hadn't won in the arena for a while. Meanwhile, Spartacus found himself confused and disoriented about the unfamiliar place he was in. Among those who were not happy with his presence was Crixus. The very next day, Spartacus has an important meeting with their trainer, who was famous for his strength. They called him Doctor. And their master Batiatus comes out to them. He tells them they must prove their worth in the arena. They risk being sold as mine slaves. At that moment, he decides that the first training will be between Spartacus and Crixus. And his hard-fought victory in the arena was not just sheer luck. Spartacus boldly refuses to defend himself in court. This leads the trainer to say that it won't work and they must send him to the mines. But suddenly Spartacus starts to grab the spear. He attempts to kill the trainer, but Crixus bravely begins to defend him fiercely. A fight starts between him and both of them. And of course, due to Crixus' high skill, he easily overcomes the legendary Spartacus. This is because he is one of the best gladiators under Batiatus. We observe the odd exchange of glances between Crixus and Batiatus' wife. Despite this, Spartacus continues with the grueling training set by the trainer. despite the very little food they were providing him daily. At that time, his only friend Varro recognizes him, and at that moment Batiatus not only has money but he is also in debt, and they consistently and persistently demand their dues. He promises them that he will pay them what they want after the last match. On that very same day, Spartacus is unexpectedly surprised to see Glaber again, and he tries to provoke him with the bracelet he left for his wife. He explains to him that he took it from her after she sold it, and he throws the bracelet back on the ground. He has brought his wife, Ilithia, with him, who is fascinated by the fight between the gladiator slaves. For the second time, Spartacus cannot control his rage, and he makes an attempt to kill one of the fighters. At that moment, Doctor tries to convince Batiatus that Spartacus is not suitable for training. And because Batiatus invested a lot in him, he can't let him go. This is what prompts him to show Spartacus the small piece of cloth he possessed. He informs him that if he performs well in the fight for him, he will look for his wife and also grant him his freedom. At night, it's finally time for Spartacus' test. He confronts Crixus. This test is to see if he is fit for the school or should be sent to the mines. As usual, Crixus effortlessly overpowers him in battle and almost kills him. But due to Spartacus' unwavering determination to survive, he pushes Crixus and knocks him down. He even comes close to killing him. But his master Batiatus stops him at the last moment. He tells him that by doing this, he has successfully passed the test. He joins the school along with his friend Varro, and he proudly gives him the school insignia as a symbol. He begins getting ready to join the ranks of the gladiators at the school. And of course, he does all this for the sake of his image. And that's the reason he puts in so much effort in training, to the extent that he trains himself day and night, and even during the hours when his dedicated colleague rests. The next day when he meets Batiatus, he encourages him, saying he's near to finding his wife. Crixus, we find, is deeply in love with someone, with the close servant of Batiatus' wife, and we discover that the sole reason he engages in fights is quite surprising, is to pay off his debts and return to his wife and son. That's what he tells his only friend Spartacus. Then a doctor comes to them and tells them that there's a match they can participate in. Spartacus will battle his friend Varro. Then Ashur comes to them and warns them about the participants in the match. Ashur will step back into the arena among the gladiators again, but due to the injury he suffered in his leg caused by Crixus, he was unable to participate in the matches. The next day, Spartacus tries to ensure his friend's spot isn't empty. At that moment, he provokes one of the gladiators at the school. When he tries to attack him, Spartacus strikes back. This way, he reduces the number of participants in the match. Crixus has admiration. He asks Ashur to bring him a gift from outside the school. Clearly, Spartacus' plan is failing. A gladiator approaches him, stating that despite everything, he overheard Batiatus and the doctor discussing Crixus preparing to face yet another formidable opponent. At that moment, Spartacus gets angry. He tries to attack Crixus while he is standing and falls to the ground. Batiatus seizes the opportunity presented. He repeats that they should stand facing each other in the arena. Spartacus has long desired this outcome. Despite everything that happened, Crixus only cares about giving a gift to his beloved. She actually takes it from him and discovers it's a necklace. When Spartacus returns, he finds Varro in the cell. Varro is unsure whether to congratulate or console him. He realizes he will certainly die against Crixus. But Spartacus boldly declares to them that he's fully ready to face anyone, even if it's Sika, the monster of death. He was known not just as an ordinary man, but as a beast. They say he was an imposing figure, about 3 meters tall, blocking out the sun, and the solid ground would tremble and shake beneath his feet. No one was able to stand against him in any challenge. The last one who managed to escape from him was this person, Toturi. The time comes when the match will take place. The ruler of the land shows respect. Batiatus is preparing to execute Spartacus before his arena fight. Who stands opposite him is Crixus. He has an admirer who clearly supports him. Batiatus faces troubles from this. But at that moment, Spartacus doesn't wait for the attack signal, and he begins to attack Crixus. And he uses all his strength in an attempt to attack him fiercely. And as usual, Crixus' skill allows him to overcome Spartacus. And he was just waiting for Batiatus' signal to finish him off. Will he ultimately grant him permission to kill him or not? That's what we'll see in the second part of the summary.